What's up everybody, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we have the 2022 Ford Expedition alongside the Ford Explorer. Both of these are the new Timberline trim level. We're going to take a look at how the sizes are different between these two family SUVs, and then there's a little fun gravel road. We'll take them each up and down it, feel out some of the articulation and off-road modes, kind of feel out the differences between these two SUVs as far as sizing goes and how they drive hitting a little bit of terrain. To take a look at a few of the specs first, underneath the hood of this Expedition, you're going to get the 3.5 liter EcoBoost high output V6, pumping out a staggering 440 horsepower. The Explorer only gets a 4-cylinder EcoBoost 2.3 liter with about 300 horsepower. And then as far as their curb weights, you're looking at 4,300 pounds on the Explorer and 5,600 pounds over on the Expedition. So pretty big differences as far as the weights and then the powers. And then if we take a look at some of the dimensions, the overall wheelbase on the Expedition is 122 inches versus 119 on the Explorer, and then 210 inch length versus 198 inch length on the Explorer. As far as off-road capabilities, approach angle on the Expedition is 28.5 degrees, while the Explorer is 23.5 degrees. Departure angle is 23.7 on both vehicles, and then breakover angle is 21.9 degrees on the Expedition with 17 degrees on the Explorer. So the Expedition actually has more off-road capabilities, even with ground clearance up at 10.6 inches versus 8.2 inches. Now real quick, to take a look at the styling, both of them are going to have all this tangerine accent color. You can see the tow hooks as well as the stripe, and we get the cool Timberline logo stamped on the driver's side of the Explorer. And then it's funny, when you go to the Expedition, that same logo is stamped on the passenger side, but we get the same tow hooks as well as that orange trim. So of course they're both modeled on the newest generation Explorer and Expedition, and you can get a pretty good understanding of the actual size differences with them next to each other. The Expedition is certainly the big boy version of the Explorer. And then a quick look at the interior for the front seats in the Expedition. We get the 15.5 inch Sync 4A screen up in front, really cool design, full digital gauge cluster as well. You have off-road modes and different drive modes, of course 4-wheel drive, locking rear differential. You can see the black leather all around. You get perforated as well as all that tangerine stitching. Then the door panels finished off in the same colors. And then looking at the interior of the Explorer Timberline, you can see the same black interior with tangerine stitching. We do get fabric along the insert, so a little bit different vibe in here. All the same stitching on the steering wheel. You get a small LCD screen right in the center with analog gauges on the left and right. And then a small 8-inch screen. This is still the Sync 3. A little bit different down here, same drive mode selector as well. And then the door panels finished off in the similar colors. So then sitting in the second row of the Expedition Timberline, this is a really big SUV, jumbo size. In these seats, you can grab the front bar and push this all the way back and you get a ton of legroom, or pull it up farther forward. And then there's a lever on the side and you can recline it. So really roomy. I don't think you're gonna have any issues with anybody fitting back here. I'm 5'11", plenty of headroom, driver's seat even, plenty of space up there. And you get some amenities. You get air vents in the ceiling and dome lights, and then all the climate controls up here with heated seats and then cup holders. And being a wider SUV like this, getting that out of the way for the folding armrest, I can easily walk back into the third row and get pretty comfortable back here. The third seat in the center, you know, I'm kind of almost touching the ceiling, but I still have like an inch of space. And then looking at these seats, they do have some power adjustments. We have reclining, I can press the button, automatically get them back a little bit. And like the second row, I still get plenty of knee room. The seats are nice and high to where my knees aren't up in my chest. I mean, obviously this is a really roomy SUV, and I like all the power controls and the amenities you get back here. And then now sitting in the Explorer Timberline, you do get captain's chairs back here as well for the second row. Nice and comfortable, honestly. I don't think you're really sacrificing space. I have plenty of headroom. You still get air vents and dome lights up in the ceiling. No climate controls on this particular one. However, maybe some higher trim levels might offer that. Seems like the Expedition is a little bit more of a loaded trim level. I think the Explorer, they're kind of giving you less luxury options. However, plenty of knee room and foot room, and you get the captain's chairs where you can move out those armrests. I can also sneak my way and get into the third row. Now this is where the biggest difference is. So sitting back here, this seat is kind of in my way right now. I might need to slide it forward a little bit. That's how I can get good legroom. This is a lot smaller. Only 2 people can sit back here, and the seat is very low to where my legs are not even on the whole seat. Doesn't look like you have really much amenities back here, except you do get climate control vents in the ceiling in both cars. And I don't know if they recline. I don't think they do. Taking a look at the cargo area now, with the third row up, you can see that angle of recline you get. The Expedition gives you a ton of space back here. It's like 2 feet, obviously a very large SUV. And then you have all these power buttons for both rows. Third row and second row, you can press the ones in the center to do them simultaneously. Just pressing it once, they're both gonna automatically fold forward. Headrests even get out of the way. And then I also have a button I can press. From here, you have to manually get the second row back, but you can easily press the third row button and automatically get these back into their position. So obviously, very, very large SUV. Over on the Explorer, you get similar space, I'd say, with the third row still up. It's not quite as wide. That's probably one of the biggest things I noticed. And then of course the 2 seats. But from here, you just grab this strap manually and you can lower these down. Still nice and flat, of course not quite as roomy, but that is expected. And then back here, it doesn't look like there is a way to at all move the second row. So then now sitting in the Ford Expedition Timberline, you can kind of get a good view of it. With the drive modes, as I select it, it comes up on this massive screen. You can see how the colors change, and it gives you a little bit different background once it goes into the actual gear. So for this, I'm gonna go all the way over into one of the off-road ones. We'll just do the, let's do sand. So it kind of gives it a cool look there. And then from here, it'll automatically go into the 4-wheel drive. So then I can actually tap the little Ford icon up here and you can see a shortcut to the camera. I can get the front view camera and a top down for slow speed. And of course I can toggle this and kind of play with what I want to see. So we're gonna get the front view and top down, and then putting it into drive. We'll feel it out as we just crawl down this. Then we'll do a quick lap in the parking lot and then come back down. But this is really impressive how such a large SUV has so much performance. So you can see all the cameras. You can go down the steeper section. For being so large, I love all this. I can really point this where I want to go, because obviously it is pretty large, but can easily do all that. And then taking a sharp turn, you know, the camera's gonna do what it needs to do to see what's going on. I can follow the path very nicely. And we do have the downhill assist, so I can have that slow speed cruise control as well. Higher speeds, the camera shuts off. And then if we go back into a normal drive mode, we'll just feel it out. Very nice soft suspension. And we have pretty much the Raptor's engine, so it's the high output. I think that's a really smart decision for Ford to put that in the Expedition. Obviously, this is a pretty heavy SUV. It's a big one, so to have their biggest option is really nice. And if you want to see the full detailed reviews where we actually test drive these out on the road, be sure to check that out, linked in the description of both of these SUVs. So coming back in, we can get a good view, do that camera again, and we'll go back into one of the off-road ones just to give us some capabilities. But the Expedition, this is a cool offering. I really like it because I think the only other competitor would be like a Suburban Z71. So it's nice that Ford is now having that type of offer. But soft suspension, very easy to maneuver everything that I want to do. And you can see out pretty well. You know, it's not that hard. And then as we come up, we'll get up this really steep section. The power delivery works really well, no spinning or anything. And I can easily see what's going on where I am blind. So I like that aspect a lot. And then now sitting in the Explorer Timberline, a little bit different feeling here, much smaller screen, a little bit more out of date. So with our drive mode selection, you still get a pretty cool depiction coming up on the screen with all the different drive modes. Same drive modes, pretty much, a trail one and deep snow. So we'll go right into the trail. And then we have the downhill assist as well as our traction control button. For this one, we have the shortcut right there for camera, a lot smaller, but we still get the front view and top down. And you can pretty much do the same thing, a larger front view and then 3/4. Obviously a lot smaller, I mean that is tiny compared to the Expedition. So hopefully the new generation Explorer is gonna be a little bit more up to date, which I would assume so. But nonetheless, you know, you still get the same capabilities. So in this mode, should be 4-wheel drive and everything. Not as good ground clearance, approach angles and things like that. So it's more of, you know, don't go on anything too steep. I'm kind of surprised by that. But nonetheless, you know, this feels nice and soft. Can easily navigate. The cameras are going to tell me what I need to know. So I like how they're at least integrating that all in both of these trim levels. But it's picking up the speed now. You know, pretty smooth. It is a little bit stiffer. I almost feel like they went a little bit more into depth on the Expedition to give it all the fancy drive modes and things like that and a little bit better capabilities. So then back into normal mode, and I am surprised that this has a 4-cylinder. And again, check out Mike's full detailed review on how he thinks this one drives. We'll have that linked down below in the description. But you know, pretty good view out. You feel really up and on top of the car. Give it a little bit of gas. And it's got a little pep to its step, but not quite going to be the same as the other one. And then doing the camera system, you can easily pinpoint me back in where I need to go. And we'll go back into the trail mode. And then as we come back up, obviously this is nothing crazy. You know, a Honda Civic could probably do these, but it's nice to at least have this type of capability in an SUV like these. And I think they did a good job giving you that extra fun. I think a lot of people these days want something more capable. You know, they want to go off the beaten path, you know, take a camping trip up somewhere, maybe go on an unfamiliar road, a random trail in the mountains. And I like how Ford is offering you both SUVs, they're big boys, with these type of capabilities. If you want the really big one or the little bit smaller SUV, you have that offering. And of course the Ford Bronco if you really want some crazy off-roading. All right, so there's a look at the size differences and then a quick little gravel road on these two vehicles. I think it's pretty awesome that Ford is giving you off-road focused trim levels on normal SUVs. You know, the Explorer and Expedition have been around forever. My parents actually had these two when we were little kids. So I'm used to these back in the late 90s, but it's nice to see Ford really giving you some off-road things in their whole lineup. Ford Bronco, of course, is going to be the best alternative, or a Raptor, of course, but to have family SUVs with off-road focused aspects, I think is a really good touch. It seems like the Expedition actually is a little bit more focused. I feel like they could have done more on the Explorer though. However, when you look at the sizing of them, obviously both of them give you a lot of size, a lot more in this one, of course, but pretty cool options for sure. So I think that's about it then, taking a look at these size differences, then a mini little off-road test. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. And once again, big shout out and thank you to Randy, Marion Ford for both of these SUVs for today. So that's it for the video. I will see you guys in the next one.